The apartment is silent. It's 2:47 in the morning in Brussels, and Michael Harari sits alone at the kitchen table, staring at a photograph he found tucked behind a drawer liner in his wife's desk. The woman in the picture looks exactly like his wife, Sarah. Same eyes, same smile, but the name on the passport beneath it reads Rachel Goldstein, and there are 3 more passports beneath that one. Different names, different birthplaces, all with her face. His hands are shaking, not from fear exactly, from the sudden, crushing realization that nothing in his life is what he thought it was. Sarah, or whatever her real name is sleeping in the bedroom 20 feet away. She came home 3 hours ago from what she said was a business trip to Geneva. She kissed him on the cheek, unpacked her suitcase, and went to bed. Normal? Routine. Except Michael had noticed something off about her laptop case earlier that week. A false bottom. And when he finally worked up the courage to pry it open tonight while she slept, he found the passports, and a handgun, and a roll of cash in 5 different currencies. He knows what this means. He's not naive. He's read the headlines. He's seen the documentaries. But knowing intellectually that intelligence agencies exist is different from sitting in your own kitchen at 3 in the morning, holding evidence that your wife of 6 years is one of them. The question burning in his mind isn't just, who is she? It's how long has she been lying to me? And more terrifying, does she know that I know? Because if she does, Michael understands instinctively that everything changes. The woman he married, the woman who cooks dinner and talks about having children and holds his hand during movies, that woman might not exist at all. And the person who does exist might be trained to handle situations exactly like this one. Trained to disappear. Trained to silence threats. Michael closes the passports and puts them back exactly where he found them. His heart is pounding so hard he can hear it in his ears. He walks to the bedroom door and stands there watching Sarah sleep. She looks peaceful, vulnerable, human, but he doesn't know her. And that thought is more terrifying than anything he's ever experienced. How did an ordinary accountant in Brussels end up married to a woman living under multiple identities? How did Israeli intelligence convince one of their agents that a real marriage was worth the risk? And what happens when the line between cover and reality becomes so blurred that even the operative can't tell the difference anymore? 7 years earlier, the woman who would become Sarah Harari sat in a briefing room in Tel Aviv, being told that her next assignment would last at least 5 years, maybe longer. Her real name was classified even within Mossad operational files. Those who needed to work with her knew her only by her operational designation. For this mission, she would be Rachel Amar, a financial analyst from Haifa relocating to Brussels for work with an international consulting firm. The cover was solid. Mossad had spent 18 months building it. Rachel Amar had a real employment history, real tax records, real school transcripts that checked out under European scrutiny. She had a backstory that was boring enough to be believable. Middle-class Israeli family, studied economics at Tel Aviv University, spent 2 years working in corporate finance before taking a job abroad. Nothing remarkable. Nothing that would make anyone look twice. Her mission was simple in concept but brutal in execution. Brussels was a crossroads for international finance, and certain Iranian officials and their European business partners used Belgian banks to move money that funded weapons programs and intelligence operations targeting Israel. Rachel's job was to infiltrate that network, build relationships, gain trust, feed intelligence back to Tel Aviv about who was moving what, where it was going, and who could be turned or compromised. It was deep cover work, the kind where you don't break character for years, where you live the lie so completely that it becomes your reality. Mossad psychologists had screened her extensively. She was considered ideal for this type of operation. No family, no romantic attachments, exceptional compartmentalization skills, and a proven track record of maintaining cover under pressure during 2 previous short-term operations in Europe. What nobody planned for was Michael. They met at a conference in Amsterdam. He was there representing a Belgian accounting firm. She was there as Rachel Amar, financial analyst, networking and building her professional reputation. It was supposed to be transactional exchange business cards, maybe grab a coffee, build a loose professional connection that could be useful later. But Michael was kind. He was funny in a self-deprecating way. He wasn't trying to impress her or network his way up some corporate ladder. He just seemed genuinely interested in talking to another human being. And when he asked if she wanted to grab dinner after the conference, she said yes. It was harmless. It fit her cover. A financial analyst living in Brussels would go on dates, would have a social life. The problem was that she liked him, and she kept seeing him. And 6 months later, he proposed. Her handlers in Tel Aviv were not pleased. A cover relationship was one thing. An actual marriage was a massive operational complication. It created emotional entanglement. It created a civilian with intimate access to her daily life. It created vulnerabilities, but it also created opportunity. A married woman with a Belgian husband was more established, more trustworthy, less likely to be suspected of having any agenda beyond building a comfortable middle-class life. And Michael worked in finance. His firm had contracts with several European banks that Mossad was interested in. He could be useful, even if he never knew it. The decision was made. She could proceed with the marriage, but the operational rules were clear. Michael could never know. The relationship was part of the cover. If it ever became a liability, it would be severed, clean and final. She told herself she could handle it. She'd been trained for this. Lying wasn't just something she did, it was who she was on these assignments. She'd lie to Michael the same way she'd lied to every target, every business contact, every casual acquaintance she'd cultivated over the years. But lying to someone who loves you is different. And over time, the line between Rachel Amar, the cover identity, and the woman who woke up next to Michael every morning started to blur in ways she hadn't anticipated. Because Michael wasn't a target. He wasn't part of an operation. He was just a decent man who believed his wife was exactly who she said she was. And for 6 years it worked. She maintained her cover. She fed intelligence back to Tel Aviv. She mapped financial networks, identified Iranian operatives posing as businessmen, documented money flows that led to weapons shipments and espionage infrastructure. She was good at her job. But Michael was starting to notice things. Small things. Inconsistencies in stories. Odd phone calls at strange hours. Business trips that didn't quite add up. The way she sometimes woke in the middle of the night, tense and alert, scanning the room like she was expecting danger. He loved her, so he ignored the doubts. Until the night he found the passports. Michael doesn't sleep that night. He puts the passports back, climbs into bed beside his wife, and stares at the ceiling until dawn. When Sarah wakes up, she's her normal self. Cheerful, affectionate. She makes coffee and talks about her schedule for the day. Michael watches her, searching for cracks in the performance. But there's nothing. If she knows he went through her things, she doesn't show it. He goes to work, sits at his desk, stares at spreadsheets without seeing them. His mind is racing through possibilities, each one worse than the last. Is she CIA, MI6, Russian intelligence, Israeli? And what does it mean that she's been lying to him for their entire relationship? The rational part of his brain tells him to confront her, just ask. But another part, the part that's starting to understand how serious this might be, tells him that confronting a trained intelligence operative in your own home when you have no leverage and no protection is possibly the stupidest thing he could do. So he starts investigating. Carefully, he takes note of her patterns. When she leaves for work, he waits 30 minutes, then checks the apartment for anything else he might have missed. He finds a second phone hidden inside a tampon box in the bathroom. It's locked, but the fact that it exists confirms what he already suspected. He starts paying attention to her business trips. She says she's going to Frankfurt for a client meeting. He calls the hotel she supposedly booked and asks to be connected to Sarah Harari's room. There's no one registered under that name. He tries Rachel Goldstein, one of the names from the passports. No one by that name either. She's not where she says she is, and that means everything she's told him about her work is a lie. Michael considers going to the police. But with what? His wife has multiple passports? That could be explained. She might be involved in something illegal, but he has no proof of what. And if she's working for a government, any government going to local authorities might trigger something he can't control. They might be compromised. They might tip her off. She might disappear, and he'd never get answers. So he does something desperate. He hires a private investigator, a retired Belgian federal police officer who specializes in discreet inquiries. Michael gives him the names from the passports and asks for background checks. Anything that shows up in European databases. Travel records, financial activity, employment history. 3 days later, the investigator calls him. They meet in a cafe far from Michael's neighborhood. The investigator's face is tense. He slides a folder across the table and says, "I don't know who your wife really is, but these identities are professional grade. I found travel records going back 7 years, Brussels, Geneva, Paris, Berlin, Dubai, but there are gaps. Weeks where none of these identities show any activity. That usually means either witness protection or intelligence work. And the employment records for Rachel Amar check out on the surface, but when I dug deeper, some of the companies she supposedly worked for have connections to known Israeli business fronts." Israeli. Michael's hands go cold. He thinks about the headlines he's read over the years. Mossad operations in Europe. Assassinations. Espionage. He thinks about his wife, sleeping peacefully beside him every night, and wonders what she's really been doing during those business trips. The investigator leans forward. "My advice? Whatever you do next, be very careful. If she's who I think she is, confronting her directly could be dangerous. Not because she'd hurt you probably, but because you'd force her hand. And people in her line of work don't leave loose ends." Michael goes home that night feeling like he's walking into enemy territory. His own apartment, the place he's lived for 4 years. Suddenly, it feels like a stage set, and he's the only one who doesn't know his lines. But he can't keep pretending. He can't keep living this lie. So he makes a decision. He's going to confront her, but he's going to do it smart. He's going to record the conversation on his phone, and he's going to do it in a public place where she can't just disappear him if things go wrong. He tells Sarah they should go out for dinner, somewhere nice. She smiles and agrees. She has no idea what's coming. They sit across from each other in a quiet restaurant in the Saint-Gilles neighborhood. Sarah orders wine. Michael orders water. His phone is in his jacket pocket, recording. His heart is pounding, but he keeps his voice steady. "I need to ask you something," he says, "and I need you to be honest with me." Sarah looks at him with concern. "Of course. What's wrong? Who are you?" The question hangs in the air. For just a fraction of a second, something changes in Sarah's face. It's subtle, a flicker behind the eyes, a slight tightening around the mouth. Then it's gone, replaced by confusion. "What do you mean? Who am I?" "Michael, you're scaring me." "I found the passports," he says quietly. "I found the gun. I found the phone. I know you've been lying to me about where you go and what you do, so I'm asking you one more time. Who are you, really?" Sarah is silent for a long moment. The mask is gone now. What's left is something colder, more calculating. She leans back in her chair and studies him like she's assessing a threat. "How long have you known?" she asks. "Does it matter? Yes? Because if you've told anyone, that changes things." Michael feels ice in his stomach. "Is that a threat?" "No," she says. "It's a reality check. You have no idea what you've stumbled into, Michael. And the fact that you're sitting here asking me these questions in a public restaurant with your phone recording in your pocket tells me you're terrified but also smart enough to take precautions." "That's good. It means I can talk to you like an adult." She pauses, then says, "I work for the Israeli government. I have for 12 years. I can't tell you the specifics of what I do, but I'm not a criminal. Everything I've done has been in service of protecting my country from people who want to destroy it. The passports, the travel, the cover, it's all operational necessity." "And me?" Michael asks. "Was I operational necessity too?" Sarah's expression softens. Just slightly. "No, you were a mistake. A beautiful, stupid mistake. I was supposed to fall in love with you. I wasn't supposed to marry you. But I did, and I've been trying to balance 2 lives ever since the one I have with you and the one I have with my work. I thought I could manage both. I was wrong. So what happens now?" "That depends on you," she says. "If you want a divorce, I'll give you one. I'll disappear from your life, and you'll never see me again. But if you go to the police or the press or anyone else with this information, you'll be putting both of us in danger. My people will have to assume you're a security risk, and your people, the Belgian authorities, will treat you as either an accomplice or a foreign intelligence target. Your life as you know it will be over." Michael stares at her. "You're telling me I have to either accept that my wife is a spy or destroy my entire life. I'm telling you that this is the reality we're in. I'm sorry. I never wanted this to happen. But yes, those are your options." Michael doesn't respond immediately. He's processing, trying to separate emotion from logic. Finally, he asks, "Did you ever actually love me? Or was that part of the cover too?" For the first time, Sarah's composure cracks. Her eyes glisten. "I love you. That's the problem. That's why this is so hard. Because if you were just a cover, I could walk away and never think about you again. But you're not. You're the one real thing in a life built entirely on lies. And I don't know how to reconcile that." They sit in silence for a long moment. Then Michael says, "I need time. I need to think about what I'm going to do. How much time?" "I don't know. A few days, a week?" Sarah nods. "Okay, but Michael, please don't do anything stupid. I'm trying to protect you." Even now, they pay the bill and leave. They walk home separately. When Michael gets back to the apartment, Sarah's already packing. She doesn't say where she's going. She just kisses him on the forehead and walks out the door. Michael doesn't see her again for 3 weeks. During those 3 weeks, Michael spirals. He doesn't go to the police. He doesn't tell anyone. He just exists in a state of suspended reality, replaying every moment of his marriage, trying to figure out what was real and what was performance. He thinks about the investigator's warning. He thinks about the look in Sarah's eyes when she told him not to do anything stupid. He thinks about the fact that he's a civilian who stumbled into something way over his head, and the smartest thing he could do is walk away and rebuild his life. But he can't let it go. Because despite everything, he still loves her. Or he loves the version of her he thought he knew. And he wants to understand how someone can compartmentalize so completely that they can live 2 entirely separate lives without losing their mind. Sarah eventually contacts him. A burner phone number. A message that says simply, "I'm safe. I'm sorry. If you want to talk, call this number once and I'll arrange a meeting." He calls. They meet in a park in Bruges, far from Brussels. Neutral territory. She looks tired, older, like the mask has finally come off for good. "Evo been pulled from Brussels," she says. "My cover's compromised. Not by you, by something else. My handlers decided it was time to rotate me out anyway. I'm going back to Israel. Are you asking me to come with you?" She laughs bitterly. "No, that would be insane. You'd never be safe there. And I'd never be able to stop being who I am. You deserve a normal life, Michael, with someone who can give you the truth. I don't want someone else. I want you, the real you. You don't know the real me. Neither do I anymore." They sit together on a bench watching the canal. After a long silence, Sarah says, "I want you to understand something. When I married you, I thought I was just playing a role. But over time, you became the only place where I felt human. The only place where I wasn't performing. And that terrified me. Because in my world, caring about someone is a liability. It makes you vulnerable. It makes you weak. It also makes you human," Michael says. "Maybe, but I don't get to be human, not in the way you mean. I made choices a long time ago that took that option off the table." She stands up. "I'm leaving Europe tomorrow. I won't contact you again. I'm sorry for what I did to you. I'm sorry I dragged you into this. You were a good man, and you deserved better." She walks away. Michael watches her go. He doesn't follow. He knows it's over. 3 months later, he receives an envelope. No return address. Inside is a single sheet of paper. It's a divorce decree, finalized in absentia through a Belgian court. The marriage is legally dissolved. Sarah Harari, or whoever she really was, is gone from his life as if she never existed. Except she did exist. And Michael has to live with the knowledge that the woman he loved was real and not real at the same time. That everything they built together was both genuine and fake. And that somewhere in the world there's a person who knows him more intimately than anyone else, but whose real name he'll never know. Michael's story isn't unique. Intelligence agencies around the world use deep cover operatives who build entire lives in foreign countries. They get jobs, establish routines, form relationships. Some even get married and have children, all while maintaining their true identities as state operatives. It's called illegal status in Russian intelligence terminology, or non-official cover in American terms. The Israelis just call it deep cover. The psychological toll is immense. Studies of former intelligence officers who worked deep cover for extended periods show rates of depression, dissociation, and identity confusion far higher than standard field agents. Because when you spend years pretending to be someone else, the boundaries between your real self and your constructed self begin to erode. You start to forget which reactions are genuine and which are tactical, which relationships matter and which are operational assets. For Michael, the aftermath was a slow process of rebuilding. He eventually moved back to his hometown in Belgium, started seeing a therapist who specialized in trauma, though he could never tell her the full truth about what happened. He dated other people, but every relationship felt hollow. Because how do you trust anyone after discovering that the person you trusted most was living a lie? The ethical questions are thornier. Did Sarah betray him? Yes. But she was also serving her country, working to prevent threats that Michael would never see or understand. Does national security justify using a civilian as unwitting cover? Does it justify building a fake marriage on a foundation of lies? Intelligence agencies would argue that the work requires deception, that operatives sacrifice normal lives so that others can live safely, that the ends justify the means when the threat is existential. But the people on the other side of that deception, the Michaels of the world, pay a price that no mission debriefing ever accounts for. Their collateral damage in a shadow war they didn't know was being fought. There's another layer to consider. Sarah's handlers approved the marriage because it strengthened her cover. But they also gambled with her operational effectiveness. Because emotional attachment is a vulnerability. It creates hesitation. It creates divided loyalties. And in high-stakes intelligence work, that split-second hesitation can mean the difference between mission success and catastrophic failure. Did Sarah ever compromise her mission because of her feelings for Michael? Did she ever pull back from a risk she would have taken if she hadn't been worried about coming home to him? Her handlers will never say, but the fact that they pulled her from Brussels suggests that something wasn't working, that the balance between cover and reality had tipped too far in one direction. Michael never learned what Sarah was really working on during those 6 years. He never learned whose money she was tracking, which operations she supported, what intelligence she gathered that might have prevented attacks or exposed enemy networks. He'll never know if the lies she told him saved lives. All he knows is that the woman he loved was a ghost, and ghosts don't get happy endings. If you were in Sarah's position, could you do it? Could you build a life with someone, share their bed, sit across from them at breakfast every morning, all while knowing that everything you told them about yourself was a carefully constructed fiction? Could you love someone and lie to them at the same time? And if you were Michael, could you forgive it? Could you accept that the person you loved was real in their feelings but fake in every concrete fact? That the marriage was genuine and staged simultaneously? These aren't hypothetical questions. Right now, somewhere in the world, there are deep cover operatives living double lives, building relationships, getting married, having children, all while serving intelligence agencies that demand absolute loyalty and absolute secrecy. The people who love them have no idea. And when the truth comes out, if it ever does, they'll face the same impossible choice Michael faced. Accept the lie and move on, or burn everything down and risk consequences they can't predict. Michael chose the first option. He walked away, he kept the secret. And somewhere in Tel Aviv or Brussels or Dubai, Sarah, whatever her real name is still out there, still working, still lying, still living in the space between truth and fiction, where people like her exist. The marriage that should never have happened left scars on both of them. But it also proved something, that even people trained to deceive, people who've built their entire identity on lies, can't fully escape the human need for connection. They can bury it, compartmentalize it, build walls around it, but they can't kill it, and that might be the most dangerous vulnerability of all. If this operation opened your eyes to how real spy work actually operates in the shadows, subscribe to Hidden Ops for more true missions from the world of covert intelligence.